All right, let's get you more on this one. We are now joined in our Johannesburg studios by resident geopolitical analyst William Gumede. William, thank you for joining us. How important is it to empower women for an African green economy revolution?
I mean, it's absolutely crucial. It's at the heart of the transformation of the African economy. If you look at all of the great economic transformations the last 100 years, whether it is the so-called East Asian tigers or, the North European welfare states, the key ingredient to their economic transformation has been empowerment of women. And when you look at African agriculture, more than 90% of laborers on African farms are women, and so on. So we really need to empower them, to increase productivity, give them access to finances, and so on.
Okay, we can't talk empowerment without talking policies. Do agricultural policies in Africa favor women?
Unfortunately, agricultural policy in most African countries are very women unfriendly. I mean, just the first thing, think about it, there's mostly women who are the farmers, but very few of them, for example, have property rights. And often, it's the husband who would actually be in control. Yet the woman, in most cases, actually, is the knowledgeable person, is the knowledgeable farmer. So we really have to change our policies and our institutions. And of course, also, just in general terms, women in Africa almost often never have access, to policy making, access to democratic institutions. So we're really going to have to make that friendly towards women, to give them access to, to social power, give, economic and political power.
All right. Now, William, is there a direct link between women education and sustainable agricultural development in Africa?
This is absolutely, it's a very, very close link. If you just think about it, if as Africans we empower the women farmers, the very first thing that we would do is that, we will make them more productive. By empowering me, if we, for example, give them access to markets that they don't have now, we really will be able, to create more jobs, create more wealth. But just secondly, by educating and providing the training, to women farmers, we also intervene generationally, because women, they also look after children, and if they educate their children also, so it's a virtual cycle of success.
Now, lack of resources is a major constraint on poor farmers adopting sustainable agricultural practices. How can micro-lending to small-scale farmers be improved?
One of the limitations really, for farmers and, for women farmers in particular, is that they don't have access to finance. And often, the banks, or even with the private banks or state-owned banks in many African countries, if you're a woman, you cannot access finance. You either have to access it, through your husband, or they will say to you, well, you don't have any collateral, you can't access it. So really, we're going to have to make access to finance and, micro-lending finance or, state finance, development finance, much more better accessible to women. And also what we have to do, and that's where the African governments can actually play a role, is, to give bigger subsidies, to women farmers, to give training to women farmers, but also importantly, women often, they are farmers, but they're also looking after children. Can we create, for example, childcare facilities, to help them?
All right, William, thank you for your insight and analysis. Appreciate it.